The space station floated silently above a distant planet, its metal towers glinting under the pale light of a dying sun. Humans had arrived just months ago, and the alien officers still looked at them with quiet contempt. They called Earth's soldiers weak, untrained, and laughable among all the humans. One stood out: Captain Arya, a young soldier who looked ordinary, but carried herself with calm confidence. The alien officers gathered in the main chamber, their tall forms casting long shadows across the polished floor. They watched the new Earth prototype brought in for inspection. A small team of aliens whispered and laughed, pointing at the humans' basic weapons and simple armor. "This is what Earth sends. Pathetic," one of them sneered. Arya stepped forward, her eyes scanning the room, calm and steady. She knew they expected her to fail, and she did not mind. The aliens had arranged a demonstration, a test designed to embarrass her in front of everyone. The chamber was filled with mechanical traps, glowing laser grids, and holographic enemies. Each step was dangerous, each moment a challenge. The lead alien officer, Commander Vela, smirked as he activated the first trap. Lasers shot across the floor in random patterns, designed to hit her immediately. The other aliens laughed, certain that the human would stumble. Arya moved with surprising grace, ducking and rolling under the beams. Her movements were simple, but precise. Her eyes never left the path ahead. A group of smaller drones appeared, buzzing and firing tiny energy bolts. The aliens expected her to panic, but she stayed calm. She dodged each bolt, weaving through them as if she had done this 100 times. The audience gasped, whispering to each other. Some aliens looked confused, others frustrated. Their plan to humiliate her was failing. Next came a puzzle of energy locks and pressure plates. The room's floor lit up in shifting patterns. Stepping on the wrong square could trigger an explosion. The aliens smirked. "She cannot survive this," they murmured. Arya paused for a moment, studying the pattern. Her fingers moved quickly over a small device on her wrist. The prototype gadget sent a signal, revealing the safe path. She stepped carefully, moving across the room without triggering a single trap. The chamber shook as the final test began. A massive holographic enemy appeared, towering over her. Armed with multiple weapons and shields, the aliens expected her to freeze, to be defeated instantly. But Arya did not hesitate. She ran forward, dodging its attacks and using the environment to her advantage. Her movements were quick and clever. Unpredictable to anyone watching, the aliens' laughter faded into silence, replaced by murmurs of disbelief. Commander Velo's eyes widened. He could not understand how a simple human could survive all the traps. The other officers whispered urgently, trying to hide their shock. "It is impossible. She should have failed," one said. Arya reached the center of the chamber, her chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. She looked at the aliens calmly, a small, confident smile on her face. They had mocked her. They had laughed at the Earth prototype, but she had proven them wrong. The room was tense, and every officer knew this was not the end. Something about this human was different, something dangerous, something extraordinary. And with that thought, the chamber doors opened, hinting at a new challenge ahead. The aliens could feel the shift in power, though they did not yet understand it fully. Arya walked out, her head held high, ready for whatever the galaxy would throw at her next. The chamber doors closed behind Arya, sealing her from the laughing aliens who still whispered among themselves. They thought her victory in the test was luck, a momentary success. They did not realize she was already planning her next move. Outside the chamber, the space station hummed with energy, alarms and lights flashing as a new challenge emerged. A series of drones appeared in the corridor, their metal bodies buzzing and weapons ready. The alien officers had prepared this obstacle, thinking it would finally defeat the human. But Arya moved without hesitation, her eyes scanning the drones carefully. Each step was measured, her mind calculating the path. She ducked, rolled, and jumped over incoming energy blasts, each movement smooth and precise. The aliens gasped as she dodged what seemed impossible. "How does she move like that?" one whispered, his tone a mixture of fear and amazement. Arya used her prototype device again, sending pulses that confused the drone's sensors. They stumbled and collided, leaving her free to pass. The aliens were silent now, their mocking laughter replaced with quiet tension. Suddenly, a trapdoor opened beneath her, sending her into a dark chamber. She landed lightly on her feet, eyes adjusting to the dim light. A new test awaited her, walls of moving spikes and floating energy barriers. The aliens thought she would panic, but she smiled slightly, ready to face it. Using her device and quick thinking, she timed her movements perfectly, slipping through the dangers without a scratch. The alien officers whispered urgently, trying to explain her success. "She is not just lucky, she is clever," one muttered. Another shook his head. Disbelief written across his face. Arya reached the center of the dark chamber, only to find the final obstacle, a holographic guardian, tall and menacing, its energy swords swinging with deadly speed. The aliens leaned forward, eager to see her fail at last. The guardian attacked, but Arya moved faster, her instincts sharper than anyone expected. She dodged, ducked, and used her small gadget to reflect some of the energy attacks. Back, the guardian faltered, and she took advantage. Hitting weak points and disabling its systems, the chamber fell silent, the lights flickering as the guardian collapsed. Arya stood in the center, calm and collected. Breathing steadily, the alien officers could not believe their eyes. Commander Velo's jaw tightened. He had trained elite soldiers for decades, yet none had managed this. None had survived all the tests. None had shown such skill and courage. A murmur spread through the alien crowd. "This human, she is different," one said quietly. Another nodded in agreement. Some were afraid, others curious. They could feel the shift in power, the undeniable presence of someone extraordinary. Arya's actions had changed their perception, even if they did not admit it openly. Just as she prepared to leave, a sudden alarm rang throughout the station. Red lights flashed as a new threat approached. The enemy fleet was closing in fast. Ships unknown and dangerous. The aliens scrambled to react, but panic spread. They looked at Arya, unsure what to do next. Without hesitation, Arya ran toward the command center, ready to face whatever came. The aliens watched, stunned and silent. The human they had mocked was now the one who could make a difference. Her calm courage stood out like a beacon. They realized this was only the beginning, and that the tide of events might change because of her. The alarm blared across the station, red lights flashing and warning sirens echoing through the corridors. The enemy fleet had arrived, unknown ships closing in fast, each vessel bristling with weapons, ready to attack. Panic spread among the alien officers, their confidence shaken. They looked to Arya, unsure if the human could help. Commander Velo rushed through the command hall, giving orders and directing defenses, but a massive blast shook the station, throwing him against the wall. Debris fell around him, and he realized too late that he was trapped beneath a fallen beam. His breathing was labored, and the fire of the enemy ships was closing in. Arya saw him immediately, her eyes sharp and determined. She did not hesitate. She sprinted toward Velo, dodging falling debris and enemy fire. The alien officers shouted at her to retreat, fearing for her life, but Arya ignored them, moving with speed and precision. Her prototype gadget emitted a pulse that temporarily disabled nearby hazards, clearing her path. The corridor narrowed, flames and sparks flying all around. Arya reached Velo just as a small energy turret turned toward him, ready to fire. With a swift move, she grabbed the alien officer and pushed him to safety. Then she used a device to overload the turret, sending it sparking and useless. The aliens watching could hardly believe it. A human had just saved one of their elite officers. Velo coughed, looking up at her with shock and confusion. "Why would you risk your life for me?" he asked, his voice weak. Arya smiled faintly. "Because it is the right thing to do," she replied simply. There was no hesitation, no thought of reward, only action and courage. The other alien officers watched silently, some impressed, others unsure how to react. Their opinions of humans were shifting, slowly but surely. Arya carried Velo to a safer section of the station. Shielding him from the oncoming blasts and debris, she guided him through the smoke-filled corridors, her instincts sharp, each step careful but fast. Finally, they reached a secure chamber, safe from the immediate danger. Velo leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. His eyes met Arya's, a mix of respect and astonishment in them. "You are not like the humans I expected," he admitted. Quietly, Arya nodded. "We are stronger than we look," she said, her voice steady. Outside the chamber, the enemy fleet continued its attack, lasers striking the station and alarms blaring. The aliens began to see the human's potential, not as a weak soldier, but as a force that could change the course of events. Arya was ready, her mind already planning the next moves. calculating how to defend the station and protect everyone. Inside, Velo watched silently as she prepared, realizing that this human might just be the key to survival. He could see courage, intelligence, and a sense of duty that even the best alien soldiers had not mastered. The station was in chaos, but for the first time, hope glimmered. The human they mocked was becoming their savior. And in that moment, Arya looked out toward the enemy fleet. Her eyes fierce and unshaken, she knew that saving one life was only the beginning. The true test was still ahead, and she was ready to face it. The station trembled under the enemy attack, alarms ringing, lights flashing, and the sound of distant explosions echoing through the metal halls. Arya stood at the control deck, her hands moving quickly over the console, analyzing the incoming ships and calculating their best moves. Commander Velo leaned against the wall, still recovering, but his eyes never left her. He had watched her during the rescue, seen the calm precision and clever thinking she displayed. His mind raced, realizing that this human was far beyond any soldier he had ever known. The other alien officers began to notice too, whispers spreading like fire through the ranks. "How can a human be this skilled?" One murmured. "It is impossible," said another. Arya directed the station's defenses with confidence, sending ships to intercept the attackers, activating energy shields at the right moments, and guiding smaller units to protect critical systems. Every command she gave was smart, precise, and efficient. The aliens could only stare, unable to comprehend how someone so young and small could command such power. Velo finally spoke, his voice low but firm. "You are no ordinary human," he said, stepping closer to her. Arya glanced at him calmly. "I am what Earth sends," she replied simply, her eyes steady. "That is all." Velo shook his head, realizing that she had hidden her true strength all along. The realization stunned him. He had almost underestimated her. The whispers among the alien officers grew louder, some in fear, some in awe. "She is dangerous," one said quietly, "stronger than any of us." Another added. Velo looked at the officers and shook his head. "Do not underestimate her," he warned. Though he knew they would be skeptical, they had laughed at humans before, but now they had seen the truth. A sudden alert interrupted the moment. An enemy strike had breached one of the station's outer shields. Arya did not hesitate, moving quickly to coordinate a defense. Her mind raced, anticipating enemy movements and adjusting strategies in real time. The aliens watched silently, some trying to copy her techniques, others too shocked to act. Respect for her grew, and he began to see the potential humans held. Their small bodies and simple tools could be deceptive, hiding intelligence, creativity, and courage that even the galaxy's elite struggled to match. "We need humans like her," Velo admitted quietly, almost to himself. Outside the observation deck, the enemy fleet advanced, but the station's defenses, guided by Arya, held firm. Each strike was countered, each attack anticipated. The aliens realized that the tide of the battle was slowly shifting, not because of technology, but because of one human. And in the quiet moments between alarms, Velo finally understood the truth. This human soldier, mocked and underestimated, was more than a prototype. She was a force, a mind, and a warrior capable of turning the impossible into reality. The station's elite officers would never forget this revelation, and neither would the galaxy. Arya looked out at the fleet, calm and unshaken, her eyes reflecting determination and courage. She knew the battle was far from over, but she had already shown that humans were not to be ignored. The real test was coming, and she was ready to prove it again. The enemy fleet pressed closer, their massive ships casting shadows over the space station. The alarms blared non-stop, and the station shook with each strike. Arya stood at the command center, calm and focused. Her mind raced, calculating every move, anticipating every attack. The alien officers watched in disbelief as she directed the station's defenses, guiding fighter drones, activating energy shields, and coordinating weapon systems. Each decision she made was precise and fast, turning chaos into order. The station, once on the brink of destruction, began to hold its ground. Commander Velo approached her, still amazed. "I have never seen such control," he said. "Even our elite officers would struggle like this." Arya glanced at him, her expression serious. "We either fight together or we all fail," she replied, moving quickly to the next console. The aliens realized that the human they had mocked was now their leader in strategy. The enemy ships fired relentlessly, lasers slicing through the dark void, but Arya predicted their moves, redirecting energy shields just in time. Fighter drones intercepted the incoming attacks, and enemy ships began to falter. Confusion spread through the enemy ranks, who had not expected such precise coordination from one human. A massive enemy ship broke through the outer defenses, its cannons aimed at the station's core. Panic gripped the alien officers, but Arya stayed calm. She activated her prototype device, sending a pulse that disabled the ship's weapons temporarily. Then, using clever tactics, she lured it into a trap with the station's gravity system. The massive vessel collided with debris, sending sparks and explosions into the void. The other enemy ships hesitated, giving the station a chance to strike back. Arya guided her calm determination inspiring the alien officers to follow her commands without question. They moved with new energy, fighting not just because they had to, but because they trusted the human. Commander Velo finally spoke to the gathered officers, his voice clear and strong. Humans are not weak. They are clever, brave, and capable of more than we imagined. The officers nodded, some reluctantly, but all were changed by what they had seen. Arya had turned the tide, not with brute force, but with courage, intelligence, and precision. The enemy fleet, seeing their ships destroyed one by one, began to retreat. Arya gave the final commands, ensuring the station's safety. Her face was calm, but her eyes reflected the intensity of the battle. The station, once threatened with destruction, now stood victorious, thanks to one human soldier. Velo looked at Arya, respect and awe shining in his eyes. "You saved us all," he said quietly, "and changed the way we see humans forever." Arya smiled slightly, humble yet confident. "I only did what needed to be done," she replied. Her words simple but powerful. The alien officers, once mocking and dismissive, now treated her with respect. Whispers of admiration and fear spreading through the station. The human who had been underestimated, laughed at, and mocked had proven that humans could rise above, that they could be heroes in the galaxy. As the stars outside glimmered in the distance, Arya stood at the observation deck, watching the retreating enemy fleet, calm and unwavering. She knew that humans had earned their place among the stars. Their courage and intelligence could no longer be ignored. The galaxy had changed that day, and it had started with one human turning the tide.